Get real.
Get real.
We are back. Again, please support our advertisers. They're the lifeblood of the whole station, you know?
Supports local small businesses, folks.
Absolutely.
You can't complain about empty storefronts in Bishop if you're not buying and supporting local businesses.
100% true. 100% facts. Dims is facts.
Dims and facts.
Exactly. And you want to know more about local small businesses and who's advertising with us? The best way is to get the mobile app. If you don't have the mobile app, what are you doing? You need to get the mobile app. Go to your app store, download Eastern Sierra now. That is the best way to get everything we have. All of our news. We have a local events calendar. So you want to know, hey, what's going on tonight because I'm bored? Local events calendar. Oh, look, there's 7 things. I mean, that's how it goes here. We've got all of our podcast networks on there. We actually have, did you know this? We have the Inyo and Mono County emergency scanners permanently linked on Eastern Sierra.
What? I didn't know that. That's cool.
So you can click and just listen to the scanner if you want to, if that's your jam.
I learned something new today.
Yeah, fantastic. So definitely you're going to want to download our mobile app. Let's get back to some questions with Robbie from Shorty Speed Shop. So Robbie, with the increasing complexity of modern cars, what are some technological advancements that have made vehicle maintenance easier for both mechanics and car owners?
Trick question.
Okay.
Trick question, sir.
Yes.
It's not easier. If anything, it's more difficult.
I was thinking that as I was writing it.
Yeah, as far as basic maintenance, it's only gotten more complicated. As I said, there's not like a transmission dipstick in most cars.
Right.
It's you actually have to lift up or roll underneath it.
Right.
And you have to know which plug to undo to check fluid levels on a lot of cars.
Yeah.
To check the transmission level on a lot of cars, not only do you have to know which plug to open up to check the level, but it has to be at a certain temperature. You have to have a scan tool to check transmission temperature, and not every scan tool can talk to the transmission computer to get that.
Oh, okay.
Your bottom line scan tool, $20, $30, $50 scan tool from AutoZone O'Reilly will not talk to the transmission computer, only the engine computer.
Okay.
So it can be more difficult.
Yeah.
So
you've got to have multiple tools to be able to get the okay.
Yep. Yeah, even oil changes. There's some Mercedes that do not come with a oil dipstick.
Really?
Yeah, it's a special tool. You have to get it through Mercedes.
Oh,
so your end user
bastards.
cannot even check oil level. It's silly.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Oh.
But be as it may, maintenance is becoming harder for the end user.
Yeah.
So it's hard. But it's actually gotten easier on our side, the technician side, the shop side, as far as like diagnostics and everything like that. I know everybody thinks that we just scan the car and it tells us what's wrong. That's not true. There's a lot to it. So we're going to expand on what we talked on before when it comes to doing your own work. When we scan a car and we get a code, we have to divulge what's going on. Literally, the scan tool says P01171, system 2 lean. And if you click on that, it'll give you a list of reasons why this can be happening. And for that particular one, it could be an exhaust leak. It could be a vacuum leak. It could be an oxygen sensor. It could be an air fuel sensor. The list goes on. It's literally like 20 different things that it could be. So the scan tool is the first step in diagnostics. It doesn't tell us everything. It gives us a hint. It tells us the system. It kind of gives us an idea what's going on. You got to dig a lot deeper.
Okay.
The scan tool also allows us to look at other data that makes diagnostic easy, but you have to know what that data means in order to interpret it. Data is only good if you know what it means.
Yeah,
it's a bunch of numbers to most end users.
Exactly.
If I say that your air fuel sensor is reading 3.3 volts, Jesse, what does that tell you? Yeah, exactly. For me, I ask you what vehicle, because 3.3 volts on an air fuel sensor for a Toyota is good. For a Subaru, it's not good.
What about a Jeep?
I don't know about Jeep. See?
Nobody
And I've been doing
should
this
have
for
a
20
Jeep.
years. I still don't know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it means sell it.
But at least. Nice. Cool. Okay. Are there any specific maintenance tips or precautions drivers should take in preparation for seasonal changes or extreme weather conditions? We have that here a lot, so this is
We
probably
do.
a great answer.
Yes. No, this is a really good question. There's not a whole lot that you can do, honestly. Main thing, again, we're going to reverse back to tires, tire pressure, tread depth, and switching over to winter tires.
Yeah.
If you have winter tires for it, put them on, get them put on.
Yeah.
Check your air pressure, make sure that it's good, that it's proper. Overinflated tire in the snow can be really detrimental.
Yeah.
As we were talking about the off-roaders, they lower their pressure. So making sure that your tire pressure is good, not too high, not too low, is beneficial. Gasoline changes per season. It's supposed to help. I don't think it does.
Yeah.
I think I get worse gas mileage come winter season with the winter gas that California has. You can check your wiper blades.
Yeah.
Make sure that your windshield's going to be clear.
Yeah.
That you're ready. You know, if you're coming from LA going up to Mammoth and there's a storm on the way, make sure you got good tires.
Yeah.
Make sure you got good tread depth. Make sure you got a nice full tank of good gas.
Yeah.
Clean air filter and good wiper blades, and you will
And
likely be trouble free.
Do the wiper blades before the event.
Yes.
'Cause I tend to not every time, and I cuss myself every time. Speaking of wiper blades, is there any really good brand of wiper blades that you can get that really does a good job of like digging the snow off or bugs? You know what I mean? Is there specific kinds of wiper blades that are better than others?
Absolutely. We work with a nice little company out of Temecula called Scrub Blade. They're awesome.
Sounds like they scrub things.
They do. They scrub things, and they're pretty awesome. They do a better job. They're not magic, but they do a better job of scrubbing bugs, removing snow and ice, getting sort of that grime and everything off the windshield. They seem like they have a better composite. They last longer.
Yeah.
Bishop, Eastern Sierra, this is where rubber components come to die.
Yeah.
Normally, I see wiper blades last about a year and a half.
Yeah.
These scrub blades seem to last a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And they're a very similar price point. We really like them. We have them for sale in our office.
Oh, okay, so
we
you can
push
get 'em
them.
with Shorties. Okay.
Yeah, we offer them. We have them we have a nice little display full of them. We can always
Cool.
order them if it's a size that we don't have.
Okay.
There's a couple different versions. You can even color. They come in different colors, so you can color match your car. How fun is that?
That's cool.
No, but Scrub Blade, they make an awesome product. We believe in it. We've got them on all of our cars and absolutely love them.
Awesome. So head down to Shorty's to pick up your scrub blades.
Scrub
today.
Blades.
Okay. What are some common misconceptions about car maintenance or repairs that you frequently encounter, and what's the truth behind them? So anything I say is wrong. I've learned that. Expand.
So we always hear that it's quick, it's easy, it's simple. Oh, I can do it for less. I can do it quicker. I can do it easier. I can do it cheaper. Not always.
Yeah.
Case by case basis, clearly. Not always. As you were mentioning, wiper blades. Seems like a simple thing.
Yeah.
You found out otherwise.
Oh, yeah.
It's not always simple.
Right. Once I got it, it was simple.
Right.
But it took me 20 minutes in the rain to figure it out.
And that's where value comes in to having somebody else do it for you.
Sure.
Some people want that, and that's where shops come into. So, again, this is where I'll expand on diagnostics some more, where the computer tells us everything. That's another common misconception, that we plug in our computer and it just gives us the answer. That is so absolutely far from the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, there's times where I spend 3 to 4 hours diagnosing a car. Normally it's about an hour, but there are some really advanced diagnostics that I have to do sometimes that require about 2, 3, upwards of 4 hours, half a full day working on the car before I get a solid answer. And I use the scan tool for a total of 5 minutes out of those 4 hours.
Right.
So it does not always give us the answer. There's a lot of other tools at our disposal, a lot of other tests that we have to run to ensure that we get an accurate diagnostic.
It's a lot like going on WebMD. If you want to find out why your toe hurts, well, you have cancer, of course. But if you go to a doctor, they're going to say,
well, it could
"Did you
be
clip your toenails?"
everything. It could be everything from being dehydrated to cancer. It's
Exactly.
sort of like
It's
that
all the
P0171 System 2 lean code. It could be a litany of
Anything.
things. A lot of different
That's what
things.
the doctor is there for, is to be able to tell you what it is, and that's what the mechanic is
Exactly.
for. Yeah.
I've been criticized for comparing doctors to mechanics, but it's true.
It's the same thing. Just
It's
for
not
different
the
body.
same thing, but it's very similar. There's a lot of similarities.
Next time my toe hurts, I'm coming to you.
Okay.
When purchasing a used car, what are some key areas of components that buyers should thoroughly inspect to ensure they're making a sound investment? And this is a big one. I just got a used Tacoma the other day in freaking Oregon, and I told you all about it. In fact, I called and showed you pictures of it,
Yep.
and that was a piece of shit. And then we found another Tacoma that was amazing in another lot,
Yep.
and it worked out perfectly for old Kyle. But
So tip number 1, never buy a car during the nighttime, in the dark.
Okay.
You can't see the condition of the paint. You're going to miss a lot of things. It's
tip.
harder to see underneath the hood.
yeah.
And depending on where you're at, it can be kind of a sketchy situation.
Yeah.
So do it in the daylight. you've got a better chance of seeing things, seeing the condition of the paint, everything under the hood, rust, little things. You're going to notice more little things with that car if you do it during the day. So number one tip,
good tip.
Look at a car during the day, folks. Really easy thing to do. If you can bring one of your little scan tools that I was talking about, one of the smaller end user ones, look for one. If you're going to purchase one that does I am readiness. I am readiness tests. It will give you the condition of the computer on its self-learning.
Okay.
The computer will go through the self-learning whenever the battery is disconnected or the check engine light is cleared.
Okay.
So what happens a lot of times that I've seen with used car sales is somebody clears the code. A potential buyer shows up, sees the car run. It runs decently. It has a check engine light, but it's not currently on. It has an issue, but those I am readiness tests haven't run to set the check engine light yet. You can see that those tests haven't run, and you're like, wait, somebody cleared the codes.
That's Uncle Sal around the corner with his cigar. Foiled again. Darn you kids in your Shorty speed shop.
I ran into that in the Pacific Northwest when I was looking for a car up there. I brought my little handheld scan tool, plugged it in, and the evap and catalytic converter tests had not been run. And I walked away from the car because I figured it probably had a bad catalytic converter. I looked at the battery. It was an old battery. This kid either disconnected the battery to clear the codes or used his own code reader to clear the codes so that I didn't think the check engine light was on.
Yeah, good. I see. Okay.
We recently had a customer that bought a car in Oregon. They got to the California border and the check engine light flipped on. The dealer that they bought it from, this is one of the sketchy dealers on Automotive Row in Portland on 82nd Avenue. They actually took her catalytic converter, a perfectly good catalytic converter, took it out and replaced it with a hollow one. And it took from Portland, Oregon to the California state line before that check engine light came on. She gets to me for the smog, and I'm like, I got really bad news for you. You don't have a legitimate cat in there. You're going to have to get one before it'll pass smog. So the little scan tool, the little scan tool is one of the best things that you can do to be your own best advocate. But look at tires. Look at the brakes if you can see them. That's a real easy, visible thing.
At least listen.
Yeah, listen. Take it for a test drive. Drive in circles. Like literally find a big open parking lot and turn that wheel lock to lock and make sure it's not clicking. Make sure it's not thumping. There's no unusual sounds. Get up to highway speed. Make sure that it drives straight. The steering wheel is straight, that it's not drifting. Hit the brakes. Make sure there's not brake shake. These are little things that you can find. You hit the brakes and all of a sudden that steering wheel, okay, well, you've got uneven brake wear on your rotors. It's going to need brakes to resolve that. So that's a bargaining tool that you can use. It's not necessarily a good reason to not buy the car, but it's at least a bargaining tool for you on
Knock
price.
it down a little bit because you're going to be paying to fix that when you get back.
Bring a towel or a blanket with you that you don't care too much about. Lay it on the ground. Bring a flashlight. Lay on the ground and look underneath. See if it's soaked in oil. If the underside is green, or clean, it's a really good sign that this car is in decent shape and been maintained.
You're not seeing the different oils leaking from the different places.
You can check the oil, but a lot of people change the oil right before. So I would recommend checking the oil, but don't use that as like a super hardcore tool. Because people often change the oil right before they sell the car. So more often than not, it looks good, but there's underlying issues. So the oil's not the best tool, but it's always good to at least check it.
Make sure that it was checked. Okay, well, good tips. Okay, last question. As automotive technology continues to evolve, what trends do you foresee shaping the future of car maintenance and repair?
Okay, very good question. Cars have gotten more complex. Repairs have gotten more complex. Scan tools are required for a lot of stuff. Even doing brakes, you have to have a scan tool. If you have an electronic parking brake, you're not doing your own brakes at home. You're just not. You have to use the scan tool to put it in brake maintenance mode, and that backs the caliper off of the brake so you can actually get the pads out.
Right. So you can't do the squeeze thing?
Yeah, you can't squeeze it. If you try to squeeze that caliper back in, if you're doing your own brakes, you're going to ruin the caliper. And since it's an electronic parking brake, you're looking at like $1,000 caliper. Really easy to do serious damage to it. So cars are getting more complex. The diagnostics are getting more complex. They're becoming harder to work on. We still have the Right to Repair Act, which means that manufacturers have to give us certain information,
Yeah.
service information out
Yeah.
there to make diagnostics easier. Because if you don't know what you're working on, then it's really hard to diagnose.
Yeah.
I mean, as a tech for 20 years, I still constantly look up service information because every car is a little different, even from year to year. You know, your 2006 Honda Civic is different than a 2008 Honda Civic in
Right.
certain ways. Between the models, between the engines, it's different. Wiring's going to be different. Lots of things are different. Another thing that's come down is that manufacturers have been allowed to, at this point, dictate what is safety and security sensitive.
Okay.
And technicians are being locked out of cars. This is happening in like the next month or two.
Really?
We will all be locked out of immobilizers.
Yeah.
So the security system in your car.
Okay.
All techs will be locked completely out of that. Doesn't matter if you have a high-end scan tool. Your $13,000 Snap-on Zeus will not let you get into the immobilizer to look at door locks, to unlock doors, to program a new key, to program a new security module, a new radio, things like that. So whatever the manufacturer dictates as security sensitive, technicians will be locked out of. We will not be able to get into it unless you get credentialed. So I'm looking into the process. It's like $400 for a 2-year license for me.
Yeah. Just another way for them to get more money out of you. Is what it is.
Yes and no. I understand the premise here. They're trying to make it harder for people to steal cars.
Yeah.
Because with today's computers and scan tools, they're both very, very, very powerful.
Yeah.
I can literally control a car from my scan tool. So if you steal my scan tool, you can control somebody's car.
I see.
And with cars becoming more and more connected and automated driving,
Yeah.
autonomous driving, where cars are talking to each other, if you can fake that signal or intercept that signal, you can potentially control another car.
Yeah. I
So
see.
they're doing this preemptively to help keep cars secure from thieves. It also protects us and our scan tools because now my expensive scan tool is not worth as much to a thief.
Right.
You know, they can't just steal my scan tool and use it to steal X amount of cars.
I see.
They have to have that credential. They have to have the password to get in.
Yeah.
So it's a legitimate system. I understand the premise. It's a pain in the ass. I don't want to do it, but it's going to be necessary for a lot of people. If you want to add a key or do anything security system related on a car, with the alarm system or anything, you're going to have to pay the fees. You have to go through a background check, and you're going to get a password basically.
Okay.
And I think, I could be wrong on this, but I think you actually have to pay for the rights for the individual manufacturers as well. So you have to have the credentials, but then you have to get certain pass keys. You have your own pass key for your security clearance, but then there's
So you might
credentials
just have a
for like,
Subaru.
yes,
But yeah,
I could pay
but you couldn't do
Subaru for
Jeep.
their access, but I won't have Jeep or Chevy or Dodge or anything like that.
Which ties right into the fact that like you have specific cars that you want to be working on at your shop, and that's a good reason why for the future.
Yes.
Because now you don't have to go to every car manufacturer in the world and pay for an AMC Eagle.
Yep. Another thing that's gotten complex is the hybrid vehicles.
Okay.
Not everybody can work on those.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're an end user and you see orange wires under the hood of your electric vehicle, please don't touch them. Stay away. It's dangerous. It's high voltage up to, normally on most cars it's no more than 400, but we're seeing the electric semi-trucks are 600 volts.
Yeah.
That is high voltage. Again, more credentials.
That will
I
kick
have
your
to be high voltage credentialed to be able to work on these cars and these trucks. You have to have special equipment. There's special meters. There's special gloves. You have to understand how to de-energize them because there's capacitors.
Okay.
Arc flash and a 600 volt shock is no joke.
Yeah.
So again, they're becoming more dangerous to work on. They're becoming more complex.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
are there's still a lot to think about when it comes to working on cars, and they're just becoming more difficult.
Imagine once they start flying.
Right?
Aren't we supposed to be there by now? I'm pretty sure Back to the Future was like 22 or
Yeah,
something
we
like
need
that.
to reference some old movies and videos here to see where we've gone wrong,
Exactly,
because
something's
their
wrong.
predictions are off.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Man.
Yeah. I feel like somehow we got into some kind of a time loop or something, and it's thrown us backwards. I don't know.
Nobody knows why.
All right, last thing I want to touch on is at Shorty's, what do you specialize in?
Subarus and Smogs,
Okay.
more or less. We do take on some Hondas and Toyotas, but that's sort of limited. We're very busy, very booked out. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, I have to sort of stay limited in
Yeah.
work to be able to provide the scope of service that I want to.
Yeah. But a smog is easy. Any car,
Not
after a certain year.
2000 and newer.
2000 and newer.
Yep.
You can pull up and get a smog pretty much anytime.
Pretty much anytime. Okay. I recommend getting an appointment because, again, we're busy.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll have 2 to 3 smogs back to back, and they take about 15, 20 minutes. So if you roll up without an appointment, you could be waiting 30, 40 minutes. Yeah. If you don't want that, give us a call, get yourself an appointment. You'll be in and out in 15, 20 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Any car, 2000 and newer, we can do.
Perfect. That's good to know because we always find ourselves in the spot where I have to get this thing smogged. Where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? Well, there you go. Shorty's Speed
We're
Shop.
one of the few shops.
Excellent. Okay, we have some secret news that we would like to get out there right now. So if you enjoyed this episode, you've learned a lot about cars, but you want to know more. You know what I mean? You're always it's never-ending story of cars when you're talking about cars. So how are we going to solve that?
Podcasts.
Shorties.
Yep, we're joining Eastern Sierra Now's podcast family. We're going to do Shorty Shoptalk. So if cars are a part of your life, which they are, you should tune in. We're going to have all kinds of automotive news for people. We're going to have tips, tricks, sort of like what we talked about here with tire pressure. I'll be doing videos on how to do this. We'll be talking more in depth about DIY type stuff.
Cool.
The other big thing, my main ultimate goal, other than just sort of helping the end user with their car and understanding their cars, is bridging the gap in communication between people, shops, your customers, your service writers, your technicians.
Okay.
There's a lot of really good techs out there. There is a history of bad shops and bad technicians, people being ripped off. There's a whole litany of laws and regulations in place to help keep shops in track so that they don't rip customers off. The Bureau of Automotive Repair exists solely as a consumer advocacy group on the state level to protect people from getting ripped off because there's a big history of that in our industry.
Yeah. This would be good. So this podcast will give you a chance to explain a lot of that so people maybe know how to keep themselves from getting ripped off.
I'm trying to help the consumer have a better experience at any shop that they go to.
Yeah.
How to better communicate with service writers when you go in and what to expect, what to tell them, how to communicate with a shop. Yeah. I want to help techs better communicate with service writers and with customers. Not every tech is customer facing. A lot of times at the bigger shops, you don't even know who worked on your car. Right. But there's still things that technicians can be better at.
Right. Bedside manner.
They can write better notes. Same thing with service writers. Service writers, there's a lot of improvement to be had across the board with technicians, and especially when it comes to service writers, because they're talking to the technicians and they're also talking to the customers. So they're the middleman, and a lot of information and a lot of communication gets lost.
That's cool. That's awesome. We're welcoming you here. We love to have you on the Eastern Sierra Now Podcast Network.
I'm excited.
People are going to be stoked. We'll be able to, you'll be able to listen to it on Spotify, any podcatcher, Apple Pods, all the different places. YouTube, because it will be a video podcast as well.
We're starting a YouTube channel as well.
Excellent. We'll be able to put it there. So you'll be able to catch it on Shorty's YouTube, be able to catch it on Eastern Sierra Now's YouTube. Yeah, that's great, man. And of course, you can listen to it or watch it on the Eastern Sierra Now mobile app. That's the easiest way to do everything. I'm telling you, you want it. Once you get it, it's one of those things you didn't know you needed. Once you have it, oh my God, how did you live without it?
You'll never turn back.
Exactly. The dark side. So anyway, Robbie, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jesse. Really appreciate it.
And looking forward to your show, man. It'll be coming out weekly.
Yeah. Hopefully. I don't know if we'll do weekly or bi-weekly. We'll figure it out depending on how much content we can pump out. We're busy at the shop, so it may not be weekly, but we'll do our best. And we'll see how much attention it gets, too.
Absolutely. So. And in the meantime, they can check out some of your videos like we showed earlier on TikTok.
Yep. Yeah, we've got Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm honestly the most active on TikTok just because it gets the most views. Yeah. Facebook and Instagram, I feel like they're kind of hiding stuff, but I still post stuff there. Yeah. Either way, I'm on all of those quite often, so it's a good way to get a hold of us, ask questions. If you need service, not the best way to try to book service with us through
Just
please call us. Call the shop.
What's your number?
760-258-1342.
342, and the address?
Is 386 Sneeden Street.
Okay, so if anybody needs to know, that's where you go.
That's where we're at.
Perfect. Okay, hey, thanks, man. It's been a great episode.
Thank you.
And looking forward to Shorty Shop Talk.
Let's do it.
Thanks. We just got real with Robbie Hardin.
Get real.